Hey everybody, welcome back to Vanland, and in this video we're going to be talking to you guys about why you should be plumbing your vans with ProPEX piping, and then we're going to go over all the components in a typical 144 camper van that is 4-season ready and carries a whopping 48 gallons of water. So this is part of our Ramble van build series, and if you guys want to get caught up, we have a whole playlist where we're building this van from beginning to end. So you can check that out, but otherwise, let's get started. All right, so let's talk about plumbing your water system and why you should be using ProPEX pipe. So ProPEX is a new type of water pipe that's now available, and it has several advantages over your typical PEX B pipe. The first and most important advantage is that it's so much less likely to leak, and leaks are the nemesis of any water system in a van, so anything we can do to eliminate them, we want to do. The way that the fittings go on, they're just a lot more secure. So as you're driving down the road, your water system may be jumbling around a little bit, and the fittings are rock solid, and I've yet to see one of them leak that's put on the proper way. Also, the pipe is quite a bit more flexible than a PEX B pipe would be. And when you bend it, so there can be less fittings in it overall, it's going to retain its shape and not try to return to its original shape, which PEX B always does. The other thing is when you put the fittings on, you're able to work with the pipe generally outside of the confined space of your water system. So you don't have to get a tool into the box and try to wrestle with putting the fittings together inside, which you had to do with all of the previous ways of putting fittings on PEX B pipe. Okay, another thing is that PEX A, or ProPEX, is a lot less likely to freeze and crack. Even if this pipe freezes, it's not going to crack, and then when the freezing portion goes away, it will return to its original shape. Vans, obviously, when they get exposed to cold conditions, within the water system, even if you drained it, there may still be little pockets of water. You don't have to worry about that with ProPEX. To go along with some of the advantages, there are a few disadvantages to working with ProPEX, and the number one is that it's more expensive. Some of the fittings can actually be like ridiculously expensive for a little fitting like this. You can look the prices up on our website because we have these. But overall, since you're not using that many fittings in a van, it's definitely worth it to upgrade to a higher quality piece of piping and fitting. The second disadvantage is that most of the ProPEX pipe and fittings is not yet available in your local hardware store. You do often have to order it online, so it's a little bit harder to get. And then finally, ProPEX is not UV resistant. That doesn't really come into play in a van because all of the pipes are inside or underneath, but just so you're aware, you wouldn't want to run this where it has any exposure to the sun. Let's take a look at how the ProPEX fittings go together, and this is my favorite part for sure. So you just take a piece of pipe like this, slip on a little collar on the end, and then you use this tool. So you expand the fitting, and then you just put in your elbow there, hold it in for a few seconds, and then it will now shrink around this fitting, and it is a rock solid connection. You don't have to use any glue, there's no threading, there's no taping, it's as simple as that. And what makes it really nice is if I wanted to connect this now to a piece in the van, it's often hard to get in the little spaces to put a water system together. So for a lot of the pipes, you can actually do the expansion out here and then just reach in and make the connection. So it's just a lot easier and a lot faster. Now let's take a look at the water system installed. This is inside the Infinity water cabinet. So it's really nice because all of this fits inside really easily, and all the cutouts are already done for the equipment that goes on the outside. It starts with a 20-gallon over-the-wheel well water tank from Northwest Conversions. So we have 20 gallons of fresh water storage on the inside, and inside the water tank we have one of these level sensors. And these are great. We will run this over to the servo on the power system, so we're able to monitor the water levels from the display and online. let's take a look at the components of the system, and then starts with a shutoff valve right here that goes into the tank. And you really have to have that because if you need to work on any of this equipment, the shutoff valve has to be there so water's not flooding out of the tank. From there, before it goes into the pump, we have a little pre-filter, and this just keeps any potential debris from getting into the pump and ruining it. Once it goes into the pump, it is pressurized and first goes through a small accumulator tank here. And the purpose of the accumulator is just so the pump is not cutting in and out every time there's a change in pressure. It's a little bit of a buffer. It also helps with water hammer, but just a good thing to have as part of the kit. Once the water is pressurized, it goes up to the galley, and then also out here to the back, these are connections for an outdoor shower. And then finally, we have a pump switch here. So you can turn the power to the water box off up front at the switch panel, but it's also good to have a water pump switch here just in case you need to cut off the power to the water quickly. That is the standard kit, and all of the components and the pipes are located inside the van. So if you want a 4-season water system, as long as you can keep the inside of the van warm, you can use this system all year round. And I have done that in temperatures down to almost 0 for several days. So we had the S-bar heater running and the water system was running the entire time. But if you do want more capacity, the system has an auxiliary tank that can be added in the spare tire cage. So let's take a look at that. So let's actually start with the water inlet. And this is one of our water inlet plates. Just simply screws in right underneath the van there. But I am a big fan of having the water fill outside of the van, because when you're filling the water, this inevitably leaks, and having it right here, it's just a good place to have it so you don't have to worry about leaking water inside the van. And from there, the first thing we have is a 3-way valve. And this 3-way valve basically selects which tank is going to be filled. So if I have it set here, it's going to fill the inside tank. Once that's full, then we can turn it and it will fill this tank underneath. So this is a 28-gallon spare tire water tank from Northwest Conversions. And this is the auxiliary tank that you would really only be using in the months where it's not freezing, or when you're going on a long trip and you need extra water. So basically you would fill this tank, fill the upper tank, and then you're carrying 48 gallons of water total. That's plenty of water to get you through, I think, at least 5 days, maybe a week or more even, depending on how much water you're using. But this system is, I think, the most water that I've seen on a van. And when you pair that with the incline water heater, which is under here, you're carrying well over 50 gallons of fresh water. One thing we've added here is a drain. So we'll have a little valve right here. When this water tank is full, we'll have a valve on that. So if you don't want to use this water tank, it's going to freeze, then you can simply open the valve here and it will empty this tank. One more thing to show you guys, there is a selector right here, and that has a pipe coming from each tank into the pump. So that is how you tell the pump which tank to draw from. So basically the idea here is that you have a fully functioning self-contained water system inside the van, and whenever you only need a certain amount of water, like 20 gallons for a weekend trip, you really only need to use this portion of it, or of course if it's freezing cold outside, you only want to use that. And then when you are ready for a bigger trip, or it's summer and you are able to carry more water, then you go ahead and fill the undermounted tank. And you can decide which tank you want to draw from first. Obviously, it's nice to have the weight of the water under the van. So if you decided it was better for you, you might only carry the undermounted tank full of water and leave the inside tank empty. So it really gives you all the flexibility and a couple different scenarios where you can definitely use your water all throughout the seasons. If you guys are interested in this water system, then we've made it really easy. We actually have the full Ramble water system kit as a bundle on our website, and that comes with a plumbing diagram as well. So it shows all the components and how they are plumbed together. And we're now also carrying the ProPEX pipe and fittings on our website, because like I mentioned, some of these parts can be a little bit hard to find. So let us know. We can ship you out a box with all the parts that you need. As always, if you have questions, give us a call, and we will see you guys again next time.